highlighted the need to reduce dependency on imports by fostering local manufacturing and industrialization.
Here to stay. It has already transformed our lives in ways that were simply unpredictable only a few decades ago, and it will continue to do so. Around the world and here in Ghana, we now have digitized factories and even digital agriculture. This is the fourth industrial revolution. Indeed, the fifth industrial revolution, the cognitive age that brings human and machine intelligence into close proximity for sustainable growth, beckons us. And the sooner we embrace it, the more prosperous our nation will become. And this is why I'm a true and firm believer in the right to affordable and reliable internet for all our citizens. I believe that currently everybody should have access to internet connectivity. You may remember that 4 years ago, I promised Ghanaians that if elected president, I'll provide them with universal and affordable internet access. This promise still stands because my vision of a digital Ghana is as strong as ever. It is a vision that led me as president to deploy massive fixed and wireless broadband for reliable internet across our country, and it remains an undying vision. We need to be young in mind and in spirit. And this is a fabulous time in history, a time which we must be bold, create, and take advantage of the huge opportunities the digital world, particularly the digital economy, affords us. And so based on this vision of a new, vibrant digital Ghana, the next NDC government under my administration will partner with local tech startups and businesses to launch a digital jobs initiative to create at least 300,000 skilled employment opportunities for the youth in this sector. And so imagine this, 300,000 employment opportunities for our young people. And this is the field that they not only love, but they often excel at. I look at my children, my nieces and my nephews, and I'm amazed at their digital skills, as I'm sure many parents in Ghana are. So I'm telling you, like I tell everybody else, let these kids thrive. They are our future, so let them build this future. It will be glorious, I promise you. All they need from us is our support.
And that's live from Kempinski, Accra. Now, the media also took turns to ask questions of the former President John Dramani Mahama, the flag bearer of the NDC.
100%.
Thank you very much, Komla Kafwide. I'll give you the... Okay.
Thank you very much.
I've seen you, so relax.
Yeah, Kafwide, GTV. Mr. President, if you watch GTV tomorrow morning, you will see a bottle of orange water on my desk. It's not juice, it's from the river. I personally fetched that water. Galamsey is ravaging our environment, it's polluting our waters, it's destroying the farms. You were talking about agriculture and the fact that if we don't have food to eat, everything will be meaningless. I want to know what your plan is to deal with illegal mining, aka Galamsey.
Thank you for your question. The masculinity has been too much, so let's go for a female voice. Nima from Ghana Web.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Your Excellency, please, I would like to find out from you what's your position on free SHS, given that...
Thank you very much, Mr. President, for your questions and also your commendation. This will not be a 9-day wonder. Everybody knows that when I was president, I held media encounters, every year of my presidency. It's not been the same under this government. They've run away from the searing accountability to the media. We all know that Chapter 12 of and so forth. And so it's something that we are willing to reactivate. And cocoa has been spending more money than they earn, borrowing more money than they can afford to pay. And that is what has, created the situation in which we are. So we must reduce the deficit, we must instill fiscal discipline, we must reduce the debt burden, and already there is a debt restructuring going on. And so we must continue the debt restructuring, but make sure that we put in the buffers so that we don't fall into this situation again. In my administration, we set up what we call the sinking fund, and we cap the stabilization fund. So any excess money
And that was the major media address by John Dramani Mahama, the flag bearer of the NDC. Let's now bring you some excerpts of what he said by way of infographs. And at the media conference, he did say that no actor in this MPP corruption enterprise will be spared when I become president. John Dramani Mahama said that. More of what he said was that my government will take action to repossess what has been unlawfully stolen from the Ghanaian people. John Dramani Mahama speaking there as well, aside from answering the questions from the media, including Kafri Day's own on Galamsey. He says my government will set up an independent value for money office to scrutinize all government procurement above $5 million threshold. And my government will launch a program similar to Operation Feed Yourself, an industry program of the early 1970s to make Ghana self-sufficient in basic staples. And this is what he said on agriculture. I was one who launched free SHS in this country, and it has come to stay. For education, this is what John Dramani Mahama had to say. Now, in my government, if the investigative agencies catch up with you, you are on your own. And this is the second thing he said about dealing with corruption if he becomes president come January 2025. I will run a lean government of 60 ministers, is what he is saying as well. And I will support any bill that would improve education. So aside from saying that he is the one who brought free senior high school, he says he will approve any bill on education. Now, I will grant amnesty to those convicted of Galamsey. The people behind them should be the ones convicted. And this, I believe, is the answer he gave to Kafui Day when he posed the question of Galamsey to him. John Dramani Mahama again says Kano Foriata should have been out of the finance ministry earlier. I won't clap for the president for the reshuffle. And those are the words of John Dramani Mahama in the media address at Kempinski yesterday, where he met the media fraternity who posed questions to him, and he rolled out his plans when he comes into power, when the NDC comes into power in 2024. There'll be more on GTV Breakfast that will be discussed, and thank you to Ways of TV for the excerpts of those videos. Let's swipe quickly to education now. This year's Basic Education Certificate Examination, BCE, will begin today, Monday, July 8th to July 15th, and will be conducted across all examination centers in the country. Now, 569,095 candidates from 19,506 schools will write the examination, despite apprehension expressed by stakeholders about the council's ability to conduct the 2024 BECE due to the unpaid debt. WAEC reassured during a press conference in Accra on Friday that it is prepared to administer examinations for 569,095 candidates from 19,506 schools. More on education, the Ghana Education Service has given opportunity to newly trained teachers to be posted to their preferred regions where language will not be a barrier under the GES self-posting recruitment module. Now, the module will also enhance digitalization drive in the recruitment process. Speaking in Accra, the Director General of the Ghana Education Service, Dr. Eric Nkanto, encouraged qualified applicants to utilize the opportunity to promote efficient and effective teaching and learning in their schools.
We wish to inform the general public that all the 2022 graduates from public colleges of education who applied for the recruitment via the GES promotions platform and satisfied all the requirements should visit the portal from 5th July to 31st July to select their preferred region, district, and school.
Away from education, various interest groups and individuals in water resources and environmental management in the Ashanti region have met to discuss and fine-tune the proposed legislative instrument LI meant to strengthen existing regulations in the sector. The acting chief executive of the Water Resources Commission, Dr. Bob Alpha, explained that when the LIs are eventually ratified by Parliament, punitive sanctions would be meted out to people who abuse water resources and the environment at large.
The stakeholders consultative meeting at Edwisu in the Ashanti region is the second in a series of wider engagements planned by the Water Resources Commission and its partners. The objective is to afford the various interest groups and individuals an opportunity to scrutinize and make inputs into the proposed legislative instrument LI. Two different proposed LIs are being concurrently discussed. These are the Water Resources Pollution Prevention and Control of Effluent Discharge, which seeks to give legal backing to the water resources management policy. The other LI is meant to establish riparian buffer zones to protect water resources from encroachment, especially by miners. The acting chief executive of the Water Resources Commission, Dr. Bob Alpha, explained that the absence of a legal backing such as a legislative instrument for the buffer zones policy developed in 2012 has hindered the enforcement of regulations meant to protect water resources against encroachment.
They have presented a draft. And we also expect that your inputs will be made in that direction. For instance, if somebody breaches a buffer zone policy, what are some of the penalties that should be meted out? Normally, they are in different stages. You have first offenders with a certain number of penalty units. There are also some penalties that will go to court and all the way to imprisonment.
The monitoring and evaluation specialist with the Ghana Landscape Restoration and Small-Scale Mining Project, Mr. Michael Awute, noted that the project is to enforce responsible mining for environmental sustainability.
What the project is doing under the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources is to support formalization of small-scale mining activities, and then also to ensure that small-scale miners will mine responsibly, they wouldn't destroy the environment, and then they wouldn't destroy our water bodies.
It is the hope of the Water Resources Commission that the proposed LIs will be presented to Parliament for ratification before the House is dissolved by early January next year.
Away from the Ashanti region, Director General of the Internal Audit Agency, Dr. Eric Odrosai, has called on heads of public institutions to develop effective and comprehensive response strategies to audit infractions and boost audit compliance. He was speaking at a workshop for managers and internal auditors on working document management and responding to audit queries in Accra.
The training focused on the adoption of global internal audit standards, the application of standard checklists for commitment control and auditing of international public sector accounting standards, IPSAS-based financial statements. Participants were guided through the key principles and requirements of global internal audit standards, as well as the importance of adherence to standard checklists for control. The Director General of the Internal Audit Agency, Dr. Eric Odrosai, said working papers and management responses to audit queries were two factors that affected the activities of internal auditors. He urged heads of public institutions to strategize with their respective finance directors and internal auditors on how to respond to audit queries from external auditors.
Now that we are prosecuting on the basis of internal audit report, our workings with the IOCO has exposed us to the need to pay particular attention to our working papers so that people whose activities are uncovered do not find a leeway through our working papers to escape the ambits of the law.
The Internal Audit Agency is a professional organization devoted to developing and expanding the practice of internal auditing.
Let's take you to Koforidua now. The Chief Executive of the National Petroleum Authority, Mr. Mustafa Abdul Hamid, has reiterated the need for consumers of liquefied petroleum gas to embrace the cylinder recirculation module. Speaking at a forum to sensitize the public on the module at Koforidua, he said the module, which is already taking effect in the Greater Accra region and other parts of the country, will ensure safety and efficiency.
The program on the theme, Cylinder Recirculation Module, making LPG accessible to all in a safe and efficient manner, was used to mark Consumer Week 2024 celebration. Over the years, the NPA has been spearheading a new model of gas distribution, particularly for domestic consumption, known as the Cylinder Recirculation Module, which is a system that allows consumers of LPG to bring empty cylinders to any exchange point within their communities in return for filled cylinders. The Eastern Regional Minister, Mr. Sethi Champon, indicated that the Consumer Week celebration plays a critical role in the daily lives of people and has become an indispensable practice in the energy sector. He said it is crucial for stakeholders to continue to work collaboratively in the energy sector to ensure a safer environment. The chairman of Consumer Services Committee of the NPA, Mr. Kwame Sefakai, announced that the CRM team has conducted series of sensitization in 10 regions so far, with Eastern Region being the 11th. He advocated for responsible use of gas and as many exchange points as possible in the country. The Chief Executive of NPA, Dr. Mustafa Hamid, said his office was established to regulate the petroleum downstream industry and thus considers the safety of LPG consumers.
Our primary mandate is to ensure that the industry remains efficient, profitable, fair, and at the same time ensures that consumers receive value for their money.
The Deputy Minister for Energy, Professor Adomako Mensah, said the focus of the Consumer Week celebration was to create public awareness on the module and address the various concerns of the consuming public regarding the policy.
Away from Koforidua, Ghana's gross domestic product GDP growth is expected to inch at a pace of 3.3% between 2022 to 2024 as macroeconomic instability and corrective policy measures depress aggregate demand. To this end, a member of Parliament for Adentan constituency, Mr. Mohammed Adamu Ramadan, has asked Kenyans to patronize locally manufactured goods and services in order to help boost the economy.
Data from the African Continental Free Trade Area after Secretariat indicates that over 450 million people on the continent are employed in the SMEs sector, contributing close to 60% of Africa's GDP. In Ghana, about 70% of Ghana's gross domestic product are driven by small and medium-scale enterprises, representing about 85% of businesses. During a visit to the Association of Small-Scale Industries, the MP for Adentan constituency, Mr. Mohammed Adamu Ramadan, observed that in order to boost and grow small and medium-scale enterprises, Ghanaians must patronize locally manufactured goods and services.
I intend to do this a yearly affair for as long as I remain member of Parliament. Every year I'll support them with something so they can buy some equipment to aid their business, because of course almost all of them are based here in Adenta constituency, and once they are expanding they will be employing people, and then by so doing we're also playing our bit to help with the unemployment situation in the country.
Mr. Ramadan supported the association with a cash of 50,000 Ghana cedis, motorbikes and raw materials to help boost their businesses. The chairperson of the association, Madam Ernestina Duncan Ahin, commended Mr. Ramadan for his continued support to the association.
Now, the Achimota area of the Church of Pentecost has donated assorted items valued at 32,000 cedis to the Nsawan Medium Security Prison in the Eastern Region. The initiative aimed at reducing the difficulties faced by inmates of the prisons exemplifies the Church's commitment to fostering meaningful connections and actively contributing to the welfare of the destitute.
The donation is also in line with the 5-year strategic vision of the Church of Pentecost, which, among other objectives, seeks to partner the government in ensuring the reformation of prisoners. The items included gari beans, rice, toiletries, water, and soft drinks. The delegation, which was led by the area head Apostle Joseph Danzel and his wife, visited the male, female, and camp prisons. The area head, ministering to the inmates who fellowshipped at the Transformation Assembly of the Church of Pentecost within the male prison, encouraged the inmates to know that even in their current situation, God still has a plan for them. He urged them to serve God diligently and allow Him to transform their lives. Apostle Danzel asked those undergoing skills training to see it as a big opportunity to add value to themselves, so that by the time they will be exiting the prison, they will be better off than they were. 2 persons gave their lives to Christ. Receiving the items on behalf of the prison, the Eastern Regional Chaplain, Reverend Father ADP Martin Paddy, said the items had come at the right time since the prison was in dire need of such items. He thanked the church and entreated other organizations to emulate the gesture.
Let's take you to the foreign front now and look at France's elections, because France is waking up to uncharted political territory after Sunday's parliamentary election left none of the 3 blocs with enough seats to govern outright, and the country is now facing a political deadlock. A newly fashioned left-wing coalition, the New Popular Front, took the most seats, with President Macron's centrist alliance coming second. The 2 blocs, which had agreed on a tactical voting pact, pushed the far-right National Rally into the 3rd place. Prime Minister Gabriel Attal, who is part of Macron's alliance, says he'll resign today. While President Emmanuel Macron must work with Parliament, this election doesn't directly affect his job. He has 3 years left of his presidential term. And in Israel, a lack of clean water and personal hygiene materials is causing a spike in the spread of infectious diseases among Gaza's displaced population. The WHO says instances of diarrhea, chickenpox, and jaundice have also surpassed previous year's figures. At least 16 Palestinians, mostly women and children, have been killed in an Israeli strike on a United Nations-run school in Gaza, which was being used as a shelter for displaced people.
Government media office says more than 75 people were injured in the attack on the Al Jawuni school in central Gaza's Nuseirat refugee camp. Eyewitnesses said the strike appeared to target the upper floors of the school, which is reportedly being used as a shelter by as many as 7,000 people. Many of the wounded were taken to the Aqsa Matthias Hospital, the main medical facility in central Gaza. The Israeli military said it was looking into the reported attack. Also on Saturday, Israel's military released more footage of troops purportedly operating in the Gaza district of Shijaya. Ground fighting has raged in Shijaya for the past 2 weeks, forcing tens of thousands of people to flee their homes.
Let's now bring you Monday's weather update. Let's go to the phone lines and speak to our chief meteorologist, Felicity Hafianyo. She'll give us an update and a rundown of how the weather will look like for you to start your week right. Good morning, Felicity. How is our week starting with the weather?
Good morning, Multity, and good morning to everyone. For today, we expect it to be cloudy this morning over the 16 region. We have some 40% chance of light rain occurring over the coastal strip and part of the upper west region. By afternoon, we expect the sun to also smile on us briefly, and then we have some rain and thunderclouds formation over the Volta region, the OT region, part of the Savannah, into the Bono, Ahafo, and then the Bono East areas. Those of us over the western and western north too, we also have some chances of some slight rain occurring within the forecast period. Temperatures will still be mild across the 16 regions. We expect it between 30 and 33 degrees Celsius. For the fisher folks, the state of the sea is still expected to be rough. They will also have cloudiness, so they should take precautions. The Volta Lake this morning into the afternoon is pretty cool for fishing activities, but afternoon going into the evening, they should watch out for some thunderstorms and rain occurrences.
Thank you so much for this update. Always doing due diligence. Felicity Afionyo, our chief meteorologist, she did say that some cloudy weather conditions expected across board, but later the sun will shine on us. Let's bring you the lotto numbers now coming up on your screen for precise Sunday. The winning numbers are 13, 13, 16, 16, 3, single 3, 7, single 7, and 56, 56. Again, the winning numbers for precise Sunday are 13, 13, 16, 16, 3, single 3, 7, single 7, and 56, 56. I am Altiti Saida Sadek. My costume is by No Rush Collection. You can find it everywhere on social media. You can also get more news when you log on to our website at gbcghanaonline.com. There's a lot for you to sample this morning. We're bringing you aerobics, we'll bring you politics, we'll bring you population, and we'll bring you sports a bit later at 7:30 and entertainment. Stay with us.
Live from GBC Studio 1, this is the Breakfast Show. 24 Asante to the second, Asante Hene, an esteemed life patron of the highest